Excellency the Governor, distinguished guests and ladies and gentlemen. As President of RUSI New South Wales, it's my absolute pleasure to welcome you all. I'd like to, on our behalf, pay our respects to Aboriginal elders past, present and emerging, and in particular to those who have served, are serving or are thinking of serving in our Australian Defence Forces. I would like to ask Her Excellency if she could formally open the international dialogue. But in so doing, could I simply acknowledge the very strong support that RUSI New South Wales gains from Her Excellency the Governor. She meets with us on an annual basis. We talk to her about the progress or lack of it. We get a sympathetic hearing, and Her Excellency is also honouring our voluntary members by a reception this year at Government House. Your Excellency, we particularly thank you and we appreciate very much. And as Her Excellency comes to the stage to formally declare the proceeds and the seminar or the dialogue open, there is a brief summary of her distinguished career. So could you please give a warm welcome to Her Excellency the Governor.
Thank you, Michael. I acknowledge the Gadigal, the traditional owners of the land on which we gather for this very important forum, and I pay my respects to their elders past, present and future. In their language, may I say Bujuri Gamarua, Diam Babana Gamarada. They are, as I have said, on Gadigal Nara. And rather than individually greeting all our distinguished guests and speakers and all of you, may I use a phrase in their language, which I think is one we should all adopt. It is Iora Butcheri, good people. In 1888, Lord Carrington, who was the 16th Governor of New South Wales, became the first patron of the newly formed United Service Institution of New South Wales. The main object of the institution was the higher professional education of officers and the promotion of military and naval art, science and literature. And to that end, there was proposed a library containing historical, scientific and professional works, a topographic room with maps, charts and plans, a museum for objects illustrating the progress of military and naval art amongst all nations, and a place for the reading and discussion of professional subjects. And so with that 135-year legacy, the Institute today continues as an independent, apolitical public education association promoting informed debate and public awareness of defence and national security. In 2011, the Institute initiated a biennial series of international defence and security dialogues, representing indeed probably what could be thought was a feel in the Pacific as to what we needed and how we needed to both position and indeed reposition ourselves. To date, in that biennial series, only 3 have been held. The first focused on the global security outlook. The second, in 2013, focused on the strategic outlook in Australia's immediate neighbourhood, and the third in 2015 on Australian and Indonesian regional security. The fourth was scheduled to be held in 2017, but was deferred for what I've described as logistical reasons, but it actually means moving the library. And then COVID intervened and is having a bit of a play today as well. But can I say of that library, it is really worth a visit. It is a magnificent library and has some extraordinarily unique and important books and papers in it. And that brings us to the theme today. The theme is managing strategic tensions in the Indo-Pacific region. It is a topic of timely import. In speaking of the Indo-Pacific, it is perhaps best to begin with the recent characterisation that was given by Nirupama Rao, a former Indian Foreign Secretary and ambassador both to the US and to China. In her words, the Indo-Pacific contains 36 countries, 16 time zones, more than half the world's megacities, 7 of the fastest growing economic markets, 7 of the 10 largest armies, 25,000 islands, and 60% of the world's population, and is still growing. In short, it's a big region. And indeed is projected to be the largest contributor to global growth over the next 30 years. We're part of it. The Australian Government's Defence Strategic Review, that was released last month, describes the Indo-Pacific as the most important geostrategic region in the world. It is a region whose stability and global integration has ushered in decades of prosperity, and it has enabled the incredible growth of regional economies, including China. It is defined by a large population and, as I've already said, unprecedented growth. And as the review makes clear, given the strategic environment in the Indo-Pacific, lacking as it does an established regional security architecture, there is real potential for increasing volatility. As a descriptor, the term Indo-Pacific is relatively new. Its emergence and recent ubiquity in geopolitical discourse, both predicated on the region's economic and strategic dynamism and the responses to it. In Australia, the first use of the Indo-Pacific as a key word in official documents appears in the government's 2012 white paper, Australia and the Asian Century, giving recognition to a range of factors that were in play, including the growing global significance of the Indian Ocean as a trade corridor, increased economic interaction between South, Northeast and Southeast Asia, and the importance of the lines of energy supply to Asia from the Middle East. However, although characterised as springing from a single strategic arc, there are state relativities involved in its understood geographic limits and in its geopolitical implications. The 2013 Defence White Paper, which mentions the term 58 times, defines the Indo-Pacific as predominantly a maritime environment with Southeast Asia as its geographic centre, but with separate references to a secure South Pacific and Timor-Leste and a stable Indo-Pacific. It appears that at that time Australia's perspective was that the Indo-Pacific was a more limited conception than it is today. And it was not until the 2017 Foreign Policy White Paper that the Indo-Pacific was identified as ranging from the Eastern Indian Ocean to the Pacific Ocean, connected by Southeast Asia, including India, North Asia, and the United States. In many senses, this definition mirrors the geographic points of the constituent members of the Quad, a key pillar of Australian foreign policy, which is probably the understatement of the morning. Also made explicit in the 2017 White Paper is the centrality, both geographically and geopolitically, of ASEAN members to any conception of the Indo-Pacific. The extended geographical understanding of the Indo-Pacific and the political alignments within it reaffirms the recognition voiced in the 2013 White Paper that the Indo-Pacific is not a unitary whole, but rather a series of sub-regions and arrangements, prefiguring in many cases the emergent characterisation of the Indo-Pacific's regional order as multipolar. And, as made clear recently in the Defence Strategic Review, Australia's major defence partner, the United States, is no longer the unipolar leader of the Indo-Pacific. However, as was also recognised, the region's strategic power balance should not be reduced to the simple binary of China and the United States. As Australia's Foreign Minister, the Senator, the Honourable Penny Wong, noted last month, Australia's hopes for the Indo-Pacific region are, for one, that is open, stable and prosperous. A predictable region operating by agreed rules, standards and laws. She continued, where no country dominates and no country is dominated. A region, she says, where sovereignty is respected and all countries benefit from a strategic equilibrium. There are, of course, recognised challenges, two of which, as identified back in 2020 in the Defence Strategic Update, are the acceleration and expansion of military capabilities without necessary transparency and the increased risk of miscalculation or misjudgment. That is a topic that one often hears in conversation with those who actually traverse the area. The 2023 Defence Strategic Review's overall recommendation is that Australia's defence and strategic thinking must go back to fundamentals. It's an interesting statement, but those fundamentals have to be understood and they have to be strategised in a geopolitical context that is uncertain. And hence the importance of forums such as today. And I thank the Institute for facilitating the informed debate on defence and national security and the improved public awareness that this entails. The lineup of speakers today is, one could say, extraordinary, but it certainly is, I think, a recognition of how important this forum and this institute is. The forum looks forward to your clear-sighted and your informed analyses. It's interesting that just about every topic on the program today uses the word strategic. I think that tells us something in itself. For those who've travelled here from overseas, we thank you for coming. For those who've travelled all the way, was it Canberra or was it South Australia today, Senator? We thank you. We understand Minister Thistlethwaite is going to join us. We are sad, obviously, that he's not here today, and I hope he's not so severely affected by COVID that he's not able to join us. But Minister, thank you also. And so with that, it's been great delight as patron of the Royal United Services Institute New South Wales to formally declare the 4th International Defence and Security Dialogue officially open. Thank you.